name is Dane Johnson. I'm here today to show you guys how to throw a football. And I'm here with my friend Dan and the Keston. Dan's recording right now, and Keston's right here. And we'll be going through each step of how to throw a football, because usually people have different ways of throwing it, but today I want to really show you guys the correct way how to throw it. You guys should be holding the ball like this, with your hands like this towards the ball. It should never be like this. When new people do it, like they throw it like this and it, goes sideways. It's supposed to really go spiral like this. It should be looking like that. We will go through a trial of how to throw it. So I'll be throwing the ball to Keston, and he's gonna be catching it. And let's go. Here we are. We're about to throw the football. And like I said before, this is how your hand should look on the football. And then another hand right here to guide. And here I'm gonna demonstrate it. So first you hold it like this, and then you step into your throw like this. And this is how it should look. And then you throw it overhead. And there you go.
Hey guys, here we are again, and right now I'm going to be talking to you about an open skill of throwing a football. And basically the open skill is an unpredictable environment, and how that would relate to throwing a football is if you're in a game and you're being pressured by the defensive linemen. Based on that pressure will determine how much time you have to throw that football, and it will also determine the accuracy also, especially if you're in a situation where you're getting hit or pummeled by the lineman. You have to be able to make an accurate and precise throw through all that. So that's basically how an open skill would relate to this. So next comes the close skill, and close skill is basically a predictable environment. And basically how this would also relate to throwing a football is if you're doing like a training session of throwing or just playing catch or anything like that. That doesn't involve like pressure or anything like that. It's just simply just throwing it to another person and them throwing it back to you. So that'd be basically a close skill version of throwing a football. So the pioneer I chose for this is Jack Adams, and he created the closed loop theory, which basically states that everything is processed in the brain before you actually commit the action itself. So this would link in directly to the close skill that I was talking about earlier, and it's basically it basically relates to like practice or training on something. And for this instance of throwing a football, it would be basically just throwing it back and forth to someone without any pressure at all, and without any defensive linemen trying to get to you or anything like that. So it's basically just a training or a practice motion of something. Constant error has to do with accuracy and also precision. And this would definitely relate to throwing a football, because if your receiver is running a route and you're the quarterback, you definitely have to be able to throw it to the spot that he's running to before he gets there. But obviously not too much or too little, because if you throw it too little, then the pass will be behind him. And if you throw it too much, then it'll be way too far for him to get it. So you basically have to throw it at that right spot. And obviously that takes a lot of timing and practice when you're doing stuff like that. So anticipation has to do with prediction, or expecting something, and this would definitely have to relate to an in-game situation and while throwing a football. If you're a quarterback and there's a lot of defenders around you, and especially the ones that are rushing at you, and also the defenders that are sticking your receivers. So that's something you would have to be aware of, where the defenders are going to be at, what kind of coverage to expect, what kind of coverage they're playing, and stuff like that. And basically that would determine you basically reading what they're going to do and making the right throw. So yeah. So long-term memory would have to relate to throwing a football, because when you're first learning how to throw it, you definitely need a lot of practice and repetition so you could keep in your mind of the concept of how to throw it and how to hold the ball also. So that would basically be the long-term memory part of throwing a football. And for short-term memory, that would also tie in with the long-term memory, because after you learn how to throw the football, then it will relate right to the short-term memory. Like if you're in a game situation, you'll be able to throw it without thinking about the concept of how to throw it or how to hold the ball. You already know that by then. So that would be the long and short-term memory of how to throw. Attention and performance definitely play a big role in a game situation if you're a quarterback throwing the football, because you should not be focusing on the fans, especially if you're playing in an away game. You should never be focusing on the crowd and them booing you or whatever the case is. You should be focused on like whatever plays you have to do and whatever your coach needs you to do out there, and that will ultimately lead to a good performance from you if you just stay focused in the game, basically. Sensory would definitely play a big role if you're a quarterback, because you definitely have to be able to look around to first of all see where your receivers are at all times, especially how you have more than one receiver, and you also have to be able to see the defenders and even hear their footsteps sometimes when they're trying to come towards you to sack you if you're the quarterback. So that would definitely both of those things would definitely play a big role in sensory. Motor equivalence is definitely another key important thing. You mentioned throwing a football, because motor equivalence shows that there's many different ways to do something to achieve the same goal. So when throwing a football, there's two different ways of doing that. There's throwing it forward and laterally, and that would definitely relate to motor equivalence, because you still have to accomplish the same goal of making the touchdown at the end of the day. So that's how motor equivalence is with throwing a football. You would definitely need speed and accuracy when throwing a football, because definitely accuracy, especially because if it's not accurate, then the ball is not going to go to the receiver, and it could go to any other defender that's lurking around, that's sticking your receiver. So that's one thing you would definitely have to be careful of if you're playing quarterback. And also, you definitely need the right amount of speed when throwing the football also, so it could get that right. So it basically ties in with the accuracy, because based on if you're throwing a long ball or a short ball, you definitely want to put the right amount of speed, especially if it's a short pass. that's a crossing route or something like that, you definitely want to put enough speed on it so defenders can't get there in time to bat it down or intercept it. Coordination is definitely another key factor when it comes to throwing a football as a quarterback, because you definitely need to be able to move out of the pocket and run out of the pocket and be mobile in the pocket with a lot of defenders coming around you and trying to get to you. You definitely have to be able to be mobile and move around a lot while still, and also even sometimes while making a throw and running at the same time, you have to also be able to do things like that and still make an accurate and precise throw also. So that's how coordination would work with throwing a football. A lot of practice would definitely be important, like anything else. You would definitely need to practice repetition of how to, hold the ball correctly, and also how to release it from your hand correctly, and also while making a accurate and precise throw. Also, you definitely need to keep just doing repetitions of that if you want to get better with it, just like a lot of other sports. So this concludes my video, guys, and hopefully you guys learned a lot from this, and hopefully you could also apply some of these steps that I talked about and showed you through throwing a football. And thanks for watching, guys.